the thing that you touched upon, which is so impressive with Alexander Volkanovski, and this is one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it, live and breathe it, is the want and the will to improve and to learn. And when you get people at the top of the sport or as champions or as mixed martial artists at the pinnacle, it's very easy to sort of rest on your laurels and rest on your skill set and just think, oh, I'm going to be the better fighter that day. But this man actively goes out, seeks the best training rooms, the best coaches, and works on every facet and angle of his game so that whoever he faces, he can completely nullify. And if we're looking at Alexander Volkanovski now, then he must be in the same conversation as the likes of GSP. Because when you're looking at people who can take your opponent's weakness and use that as a weapon of your own, and to take it to that realm to then just win on simpler terms. Now you're looking at that next level of champion where they're starting to become so good and so well-rounded that they dictate exactly where they want it to go because it's so unfair if they take it there. And that's exactly what Alexander Volkanovski went out and done. And I texted Colby Thickness, which is one of Volk's main sparring partners and training partners, before the fight. Earlier in the day, I dropped him a message. I met him when I went out there, went down to the gym. I speak to him quite often. Incredible upcoming talent. I said to him, how you got this one going, mate? Always interested to get a view close to the source. He said,
Bang on the money, didn't he?
We'll be done in 3, ground and pound. I said, I'm glad we're on the same page. Exactly how I saw that going. And guess what? It went to an absolute T. And guess why? Because Alexander Volkanovski is a safe bet. And if you can say that about anyone in mixed martial arts, that's the highest caliber of compliment you can possibly receive. Because this is not a sport of safe bets, as we saw in the co-main event. So when you look at a Volkanovski fight, you can safely say this is what's going to happen. And I don't have fights that I'm as confident as, or I'm as accurate in predicting the outcome, because that's how easy sometimes it can be with Volkanovski, because he's probably going to do everything he sets out to do and everything he game plans for. And if he doesn't game plan for it, he's probably going to make the adjustment to get him back on track. And then he combines it with the smartest minds in the game. And then you have one of the most coherent, the one of the most responsive, the one of the most skilled soldiers on the front line, which absorbs all of this information from 11-time world champion Taekwondo champions like Carl Van Room, like Craig Jones, one of literally the pound for pound, one of the most skillful jiu-jitsu practitioners you're ever going to see. The Frank Hickman, the Eugene Bem, he takes all of this information and he implements it under the brightest lights, the biggest pressure, the most skilled opponents, the most dangerous opponents, the pound for pound best in the world. And he does it with composure, with stoicism, and with execution to the nth degree. And every single time I watch him compete, I can't comprehend how he's operating at such a level, with such intensity and with such calm of mind. And again, it was why, for me, he's pound for pound best in the world, and for why he remains one of my favourite ever sportsmen to watch, because of the mindset and also his execution. And for me, in my generation, he's one of my favourite ever athletes, full stop.
I completely agree with you. You're saying everything, you're saying all the right things. I absolutely agree. I think I said this last week, it reminds me in a way of Khabib, in the sense that he doesn't do anything you don't already know he's going to do. He doesn't do anything flashy, but he does everything to such a high level. He leaves no weaknesses. There's no corners cut, and you can't stop him. It doesn't matter. You can train all you want. You can watch all the tape. You know exactly what he's going to bring, what he's going to do. But he's so good at everything. You just can't stop him. It doesn't matter how much you excel in certain aspects. As so good, Yair is on the feet. Volk will do you one better, and he's not even known. He's known for everything, not just his striking. So he goes into other people's realms and he'll beat you there too. It doesn't matter. He's too good. He really is. I think that fight for me cemented him. He is the best featherweight of all time for me. I mean, you could talk about Aldo and Max, but I think to be honest, he already was. I think he already was, just by ability alone. And I think we need to appreciate him while he's here, because he really, I don't think there's another guy doing it he is. You know what I mean? I think the only person whose dominance you can really compare it to is someone like Shevchenko, but obviously it's fair to say she doesn't have the same caliber of competition as Volkanovski does. So it's a real testament to his ability that he beats all these elite guys and makes them look so easy because they're all fighting below him, squabbling. They're like the peasants, and he's just the king. They'll
The
try and
great.
step up to the plate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he will beat every single one of them. And I'm so glad. It is a privilege to watch him fight every time. So I'm glad we're going to get to do that at least a few more times.
You hit
until he calls it a
the
career.
nail on the head, because a privilege it very much is to watch him compete. And as you said there, you can watch Alexander Volkanovski tapes and you can see where he's been in danger or troubled or dropped, or you can see maybe weaknesses you believe you can exploit. But the problem you have with Volk is he does not forget, and he's almost has this ability, this regrowth pack, almost as if he's playing a video game, where every time he makes a mistake, he takes this regrowth bandage to never make the same mistake twice, because he's thought about that and he's made the necessary adjustment for it not to happen again. So you may see a weakness, but it's not going to be there for you the next time because he's already patched over it and he's already added those changes and those adjustments to his game. And he's not just doing that out of camp, he's doing that in the fight if he has to. And that's the problem when you're fighting someone like Volk, is until you get in there, and this is what I mentioned before the fight, until you've got in there, you've never fought a Volkanovski. You just never have. Because the sophistication of the front hand and the feints and the fakes and the hand fighting, and then the sophistication of the feints in general and the hip feints and the stance switching and the level changes and the footwork and the cutting off of the cage and cutting off of the cage out of both stances. Yair Rodriguez was trapped like a caged chicken. And I said he had to win that footwork battle and he had to corral him against the cage. And I haven't seen anyone do it as impressively as Volk just done it against Yair Rodriguez, because he has some of the finest footwork in Yair Rodriguez and some of the most intricate. And the way that he used both southpaw and orthodox and perfectly just cut him and just cornered him right into this central point here where he could just get his target and aim. It was just striking of the highest caliber. And yeah, we can talk about how he went to the ground and he nullified his striking and he beat him up and he built frames and landed heavy ground and pound, which, by the way, of course, was an easy prediction because that's what he's become so renowned for. But make no mistake, he completely dominated him on the feet before it even got there. Completely dominated him. Not necessarily with big hooks and uppercuts, but in terms of how he just nullified Yair to throw absolutely nothing, completely stifle him, and then set up his own strikes to take him down. I think that's one of the highest level displays of mixed martial arts I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I said, I know I keep running back to last week, but I said the potential path to victory for Yair was those body kicks, because that's what he's known for, and he throws them with bad intentions. But as you said, those stance switches completely nullified, kept Yair guessing. You can't keep attacking the same side. It was so much intelligence when he wasn't even engaging. When he wasn't even engaging with the Yair, but it's constant little movements, little adjustments, little phase, just so many things going on, and just combining them all into one and blending it perfectly. And Yair had absolutely nothing for him as a result. It was just, it was a masterclass. And I honestly, I have no other words for it. It was probably, I think that's probably his finest performance. It's up there, except from Max Holloway 3. I think that goes above it just a bit, just because of how good Max is and what he's done. But it's just maybe second fiddle, just about.
And this is what we're talking about with Volk. We're talking about his game evolving so much that he's going out there on 50-44 in Max Holloway, and then we're talking about him possibly having better performance. And you're saying, no, that's not, well, hold up. That's not even possible. Let's not have that conversation. But that is possible, apparently, because we're having that conversation. And yes, when I spoke to Joe Lopez, when I went down there, he said to me off camera, he said, the UFC called them and they said, okay, we've got 2 fights for you. He said, we can give you the 8th of July or wherever, 9th of July in Vegas, UFC International Fight Week against Yair. And then we can give you Islam if he wins that fight. That's what I got told originally. And that's what the UFC apparently proposed. So that was always in the plans. And then Dana comes out post press conference and he says, this is what gets me so happy. This is what makes me so happy about the situation, because Volk has risen to the top on resilience, skill set, of course, but tenacity and want to learn and ability to grow and develop as a mixed martial artist and as an athlete and become one of the best athletes on planet Earth, full stop. But the thing which is so nice is he's risen to the top with authenticity, and he's done it just on the foundation of hard work. And now he's in a position where I'm not saying he's the star power of Conor McGregor. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he's starting to pull strings in the way that Conor McGregor could pull strings in the UFC, where Dana's coming out in press conferences now and saying he can do what he wants. He said that on record. He can do what he wants. He wants to go to he can do that. If he wants to go up to lightweight, he can do that. He can do what he wants now because he's earned that right, and he deserves it. And there's not a man alive now who can sit here as a mixed martial arts fan and go, yeah, well, he can't get that rematch. You can't say that because there's too many people that are arguing that he won. And then you go out and see what he done to Yair. And you go out and see how well documented he is about making adjustments and making changes and different layers to his game. And I've said to you before, mixed martial arts is like cooking a dish. And it's so befitting that cooking with Volk is like this dish. And the dish that is Volkanovski has so many different ingredients to it. It's like a mixing bowl. It's like a petri dish of skills and ingredients, and you're just chucking everything in there. You're talking heavy, hellacious ground and pound, aggressive elbows, just bombs from the top, frames, anti-jiu-jitsu, offensive wrestling, defensive wrestling, striking, feints, fakes, everything you want to say, any word, footwork, anything you can think of, you're chucking it in there. You're chucking it in the mixture, and what's coming out of it is this incredible final product, and the chefs that are cooking it all are the likes of the smartest mixed martial arts minds in the game. And it's just a scary prospect, and I've got to stop talking about it because I'm getting my heart rate and my blood pressure high.
It's like you've seen Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of, like, I mean, obviously Ivan Drago lost, but it's like, you know, they've got all the scientists and all the best guys. They're like creating the perfect superhuman fighter. That's what it feels like. He really is. Yeah, he is. Again, I'll say it again. He's a privilege to watch. But